Hello and welcome back to part 2 of our nice little Farming Simulator 25. We canceled and we lost $6,000 on our last contract. So we are going to, I just accepted this contract, we are going to do another contract to get that money back. Right over where our last contract was. We know that we can cross this bridge. The biggest problem we got is traffic on the bridge. One thing I will say, after this last thing, I learned that, yeah, there is a reason why I'm not doing, what do you call it, carrot harvesting. You need to, and I haven't figured out how to do that just quite yet, so I'm not going to continue to do that. Let's pray no cars are coming across, okay. Yeah, we're trying to make it. There we go. There's our field. This will get our money back. It's not a wide field, but it's long. This is a $7,000 contract. Shrink our map up a little bit. We can zoom out now so we can see the field a little better. In our last episode, I kind of explained my issues with this map. I think it's a decent map. It's just the trees are way too just placed out in uniformity, and it's not really, I mean, it's not really how things look in just most areas. And I'll tell you what, I live in the Pacific Northwest, and I will tell you this, there is this tree farm that's relatively close to my house, probably less than 5 miles away, and when we go down that road, and sometimes we go that way when we're going to bypass a town, and it's a little quicker, there is we drive by a lot of tree farms, and they're nice and, you know, in rows and stuff like that, and it is what it is. I mean, they're tree farms, you know, whether it's apple trees, pear trees, hazelnut, almonds, whatever it is, you always know where the tree farms are because they're nice and uniform and in a row and stuff like that. But anywhere else you go, you don't see anything like that where they're in a row. And where the grass is so maintained. I do like seeing this elevation change on this field, though. This reminds me more of what a field should be like. They're never perfect. They're never like that one right there that's flatter than flat. There's always some change. I mean, shoot, my house, and I don't have much of a yard, but from the front to the back, there's elevation change. And my neighbor's house across the street there's elevation change, so you should always have somewhat of some elevation change on your fields. Seldom are there just perfectly flat fields. Not saying it doesn't happen, but it shouldn't be a frequent occurrence. And as we come in here and get this field, the first pass all the way around, it's going to be about 40%, so there's not much left to do here. And the tractor they were going to give me was a much smaller tractor, and it probably would have took me a lot longer to do this. As we come in on 50% complete, we're not quite there yet, but we basically are. Doing pretty good here. %55 complete. I think after we get this done, just kind of doing a rough assessment of the field, we would have an up, down, and an up left. Looks like about 12%. Might be a little more. There's 10% right there. Dropping down. 11%. That's 12. 13. That's 14%. So When we turn and we go up this way, that's gonna hit us 83%. So it's an up, down, and partial of an up again. We need to take more of that out. There we go. Hold on a second. I shouldn't have anybody hired. I know I hired somebody on the other one. Maybe that's that payment there. And I figured we'd be at 83% by the time we get up to the top here. What do you think? 82. It'll be close. 83, yeah. So 83% pretty much means that we'll come through here, and this will get us down to 97%. I think that's the number I'm thinking. Not quite for sure, but yeah, and then doing 3% up, that finishes this field pretty darn quick, and that's a $7,000 payday. Gets us back up to where we were before we made that foolish decision to harvest carrots and then realized that's not happening. You were on the last episode, you would have seen the struggles I had with that. Yeah, 97%. That's pretty darn good. We're just about done. There we go. Let's collect, oh, we got another cultivating one, field 14. You know what, we'll do that. We're going to accept that contract. That's $4 grand. But we're going to take this 7,000. We're going to collect that. What else is out there? We're not doing that. We still got the sorghum ones that we could do. That might be a good one that we want to do right here. I feel comfortable doing sorghum. I don't feel comfortable doing carrots. Let's zoom our map up. Let's pray we can get across this bridge with no problem. We cultivated the field and instant weeds, so I love that about the game. Instant weeds over there, but we don't have weeds on that side. Okay, we got a car coming through. The game was nice to me today. Let's cut over to field 14. We're gonna drive like a drunken sailor here. There's our field, I see it. This contract will get me up and over %. Kind of a small field, I mean, considering what we're using. Not overly easy to see what we're doing here. I think we did field 25 the months previous. And that one only paid $3 grand, so much better payday on this one. I'm gonna run into that tree as well. Boom, right there. I mean, it's just the way that whoever made the layout. Not for sure if they did that intentionally or not, but however, this field is going to be, by the time we do the first square through, we'll be close to 50% complete. And the gas mileage on this thing, we're getting great fuel mileage. Yeah, 50%. We're doing about 7, maybe 8% each way. That's pretty good. We'll have this field cultivated in no time. And once we get this done, I think we're going to do the sorghum. We're going to keep this cultivator, though. I'm going to keep this thing all day for the full day, because this cultivator is actually paid out pretty darn well. It's what time I normally get up in the morning. The alarm just went off. But I have to say, this cultivator so far has been a moneymaker for us. So this guy we're gonna keep. There we go. Let's hit this here. We're going to collect that. So we have collected over $10,000, actually probably close to 16 with that. We have 2 harvesting contracts. We got 15, which we're right next to, and 1. We're going to accept this one. We're going to borrow these items, and how much that's going to cost us a pretty good chunk of money there. However, we're just going to accept that one there. And boom. We're going to tab over here. This is a pretty big combine, which I do like. Which we should make pretty easy work of it. Let's see where we're at and where we need to go. We're going to go to 15 first, which is pretty easy to get to. They're actually both pretty easy to get to. Just cut across field 4. We open up. I don't know what our storage is in this, and where we drop off not that far away. And we should make some decent money off of this. Shrink my map up at the moment. So this is going to hold about 20,000 liters, so this thing holds a pretty good chunk of sorghum. You know, we've been doing a bunch of square fields until this field. This field is way not square. I'm going to back up here and get this. One of the first ones not square that we've done. Leaving money on the board right there. I will say it's amazing how quickly sorghum fills up. We're going to fill this thing halfway full before we make it one full round. Which means we're going to have to empty this at least twice and maybe a third time. Yeah, we're 50% full. 100% full is going to put me at about 34% complete. Maybe 35%. This is a big field, and the other field we're doing is even bigger according to how much money we were making off of it. And we took the bigger of the two combines. Look at that. %70 complete here. Now, since we're doing two sorghum fields and everything's going to the same place, once we get this full, we're going to fill our truck up as full as we can fill it. So I don't know what the percentage of that's going to be, but we'll go harvest the other field, or start harvesting it once we get this one fully harvested. Okay, we need to empty out here. Let's back up a little bit. Hit that. Hop into our rig. Hopefully this holds a lot. Nice speed to it. Here we are, we're coming in. To take the first load of grain. Got about 20 more minutes of this video. Whatever I don't complete this, I will complete offline, because we're only going to do 2 parts per day, and I know I cut the last one a little short. I apologize for that, but I got frustrated with that carrot harvesting. Okay, so this is probably going to fill completely up doing this harvest, and we're going to have to drop it off. That's quite amazing. We filled that tractor up 44%. All right. we are finally starting to shrink the field. I do like that, I have to say. And as we're doing this part here, it really feels like we're shrinking the field at the moment. We've almost filled the hopper up 50% there. That's just amazing. I'm going to start straightening this part out right here. Just a little bit. Not going to fill that up too much, but just trying to make these an easier pass. You can speed that up a little bit. Maybe we can go in right there. Not quite perfect, but it's pretty darn close. We're gonna grab these a little bit right there. We don't want to lose a dime. this is a pretty decent combine. We got about 10, maybe 20 minutes, and then I've got to head off to work. So that's about where we're at for this video. If you want to know where we're left at. We're going to get this field harvested. We're at 98%. There we go. This could even take a bigger header if we could get it on there. There we go. And we're going to have to go empty that probably sooner than later, because that's almost 90% full right now. Yeah, we're almost done harvesting this field. Alright, at this point, everything else we harvest out of here is my profit, which is nice and good. We'll fill our truck up, and then we'll go over and start harvesting the other field until this gets full. Then we'll go empty that truck. There we go. Turn around, fill this guy up. Think about like that. Oh, wow. Yeah, so we couldn't even empty that all the way. Let's pop up our map here and cruise down to field number 1. Maybe we'll get to field number 1. A lot of trees in the way. Have to take the scenic route. Oh yeah, we'll get there, no problem. There's our field. This is a big one. This one pays out about $2 grand more than the other one did. This one's nice and square though. While we go empty our truck, oops, nope. We're gonna hire a guy to go do some work here, and we're gonna go empty our truck. This definitely has some weight to it. should probably follow this road a little bit and then cut across field 23. Or should we just cut right here? I say just cut across this way. Hope you got insurance. Let's see how close this comes to filling up our field. I mean, I'm watching the harvest and he's doing some work, but not really knocking it out as fast as I would hope. Okay, here goes our first dump of sorghum. So we did not fill that thing all the way to empty it out, which is quite interesting. We're going to cruise over to our field 1. Hopefully he can get a little bit more of that harvested. We'll have to take over the harvesting duties here in a minute. I don't know. How I ended up doing that, but okay. Okay, there we go. Did he complete this? He did. Okay, not bad. Let's hit the tab button. Let's fire him. This is already 70% full. That's what hiring a worker is kind of handy for, is they can work on doing something while I go out and do something else. So we're probably going to fill this up and then we're going to empty it into our truck, and that's about where we're going to end this episode. The rest of it I will complete offline, and part of that is strictly because this will end day number 2 for us and how I'm posting online. We will do a couple of things before we go. And we'll go up this way as far as we can. There we go. Empty that out. There we go. Now, that's it. That's where we're going to stop this. I'm going to finish this, and I'm actually going to finish it later in the day. But I do want to look at used vehicles. We have $50,000, and what would we like to buy if we could? What's that? Slurry? No, we're not there. We could buy a mower. That's unrealistic. That is how much? Headers are attached to forage harvesters. Okay. That would have been an okay buy. This is a small header. There is really nothing on the board. What's this? This is a guy we could transport. Not bad. Could buy that, not too interested though. That would be decent to buy. That's 10 meters. That's 13 meters. That'd be the one you'd want to buy. To seed crops, that's something that we might consider. How wide across is that? 9 meters, pretty good. Okay. All right, so we're not going to be buying anything. So anyway, this is where we're going to stop it. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And with that said, stay safe and bye for now.